Question 1 then. Current New Zealand Warriors head coach Andrew Webster coached you in the late 2000s at Hull KR. What was he like as a coach personally for you?
Yeah, brilliant. I thought he brought in some really, really great ideas. When I went to Hull KR in 2007, he was in and around the academy. And then in 2009, he was the senior assistant to Justin Morgan. I remember myself and Michael Dobson doing some kicking stuff. We scored our kicks out of different scores where we put the kicks in the game. We lost scores if we put them dead and stuff like that. So it was brilliant. It was really, really thorough. Obviously it wasn't a great time for me at the club, but he was someone who I felt that I could trust and lean on. And I think it's gone on in his career. When I listen to some players, particularly Sean Johnson, the recently retired New Zealand Warriors half, who's been around as well at different clubs, he says he's a real players man, and that's what he is. I think he cares about his players. Yeah. He cares about them even if they're not a part of the first team squad or in and around the first team as the first 17. So it was great. Really thorough with his preparation. His videos were great. Previews, his reviews were good. Really fair. So yeah, I'm really pleased to see where he is at in his career. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful coach.
I was going to say, because of how well he's done and doing at the Warriors, has it surprised you at all about how well he's going? Did you always think he was going to go to the top?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I thought he had the demeanour as well. He's good in the media. He never moans. He never bags referees.
No.
He very rarely comes out and says anything other than his team have got to fix up. I think he's really, a really likeable guy, isn't he? And he certainly cares about his players from what you hear.
Because
he's got Richard Agar over there with him as well. Richard Agar was the assistant when we won the Cup with Hull in 2005. And Richard's a really thorough and meticulous coach. There's not too many people that know a great deal more about Rugby League than Richard Agar. And, and Andrew's up there with that. And there'll be one other that's probably out eclipses everybody, and that's Ian Proctor at Sky, who does all the stats for everybody. And Ian's a wealth of knowledge. I look forward to his emails when I'm working on Sky. But yeah, Andrew's doing a fantastic job. They're sat third in the comp now, and I hope they can get the job done. Be difficult over Penrith and Roosters, but they're really tough at home. That's for sure. Otherwise,
they are. Let's move quickly into the next one then. Which former teammate of yours never received the credit they deserved?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one. Sean Briscoe. I think Sean Briscoe was never given the credit he deserved, both at Hull FC and Hull KR. I think people don't underestimate how difficult it is to play fullback, and how brave he was. I'll tell you one funny story. We were playing in a Hull derby at Craven Park. It's the only one I lost, so I remember it really well. I came off the bench. And Hull FC dropped the ball. I was playing for Hull KR. Hull FC dropped the ball on hour 20, and out of nowhere comes a flying Superman, Sean Briscoe, to dive on the ball. He dives on the ball and he collects somebody's knee on the back of his head and knocks himself clean out. And he's laid on the floor and he's sort of still asleep and snoring. And me and Richard Horner stood up there, and there's going to be a scrum pack for a knock on. And he was never the quickest Brisk, but I didn't quite understand, but it just shows his bravery. He dives on the ball, gets knocked out, he's laid snoring. And I stood with Richard on and I said, what did he think was going to happen? Like, was he going to think he was going to collect it and go the distance, 80 metres, without somebody catching him? Because he'd have got to the halfway and he'd have been caught by Gaz Rayner or somebody else, really. So, yeah, it was mental. It was the end. It was sort of late 2007 or 2008 when he did it. And it was crazy what he did. I was just like, what did he expect to happen? But that was the bravery of him. And, when the ball went in the air, we knew he was going to catch it. He got on the end of things. He was fit aerobically. So, yeah, he was underestimated, in my opinion.
Well, his nose would indicate how brave he was, I think.
Part of his last contract was to get his nose straightened, which was a hell of a job. I'm pretty sure it was a longer operation than open heart surgery.
Unbelievable. Next one. In your opinion, who was the best overseas player you ever shared a dressing room with?
Oh, Jason Smith. Jason Smith was phenomenal. He taught me everything about the game. I've said this story a million times, but I spent a full pre-season training 2 meters behind Jason. just to look at what he was looking at, and it was a coach's idea. So I spent a full pre-season just watching what he was doing and why he wanted the ball, what he was seeing as a defensive line to want the ball. I remember a clip where he played. I think he played at Canberra and or it might have been North Queensland. And Gus Gould comments and he says, Jason Smith plays at his own pace. It's a dying art in the game. And that was a phenomenal comment from Gus, because he was never quick in terms of off the mark or in terms of pace, but he was always a step ahead in his head. And I don't think I'd have had the career I had without the influence of Jason Smith at the club. And some honourable mentions. Listen, I think Richard Swain was very close. Stephen Kearney, Shane McMenemy was very underestimated as an overseas player. Nathan Blacklock came at the end of his career, but was still phenomenal.
Yeah.
Matt Singh, another one. Played with some brilliant players. Craig Greenhill, obviously the first player to be sent off in Origin.
Yeah, Knuckles.
Knuckles. Yeah.
Love it
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. We've got a couple more to go. This is a good one. Andrew Joey Johns. You had the pleasure of playing against him on 2 different occasions. How good actually was Joey? How good was he to share the field with?
Yeah, well, the first game the first game we played against him was at the KC Stadium, as it was then, in a last league game of the season, and we was 4th and they was 5th, I think. We was in a home position for semi-final for a playoff game, and they was behind us. They was coming to us the next week if we won.
Yeah.
They destroyed us. I think he put on 3 tries for Brent Gross, the fullback at Warrington. And I sort of stood in awe of him, watching what he was doing. And I found myself watching him rather than what I should have been watching in the first game, you know, in terms of what was in front of me defensively, just to sort of gauge what he was doing as a player. I'd watched him the week before against Leeds in his debut, and he destroyed Leeds Rhinos at home. And then they came to us and beat us by 30. And then sort of following week, we went there in the playoffs, and it was the old John Kears story where, you know, he builds it up. We can't win this game. Nobody believes we can win this game. By half-time, Nathan Blacklock, Tingers scored 3 tries. We're 18-0 up, and we win the game by 40. But he was phenomenal. His talk, what he scanned, what he looked for, the way he caught the ball, which line of run he went on, and who he fixed and dragged to him. It was like a Jason Smith-esque, if you like, in terms of playing the way he wanted to play and fixing and dragging players. It was like going back to my childhood as it was. But we had the last laugh. We knocked him out of the playoffs the week later.
I was going to say, I was waiting for you to drop that part in. Why your fans will love that one.
In, then I'll answer. Then I'll add this. Stephen Kearney gets sent off after 7 minutes the week after, and we lose 71-0 at Bradford, and that knocks us out the playoffs.
that hurt, that one. Sticking with Joey Johns then, to wrap it up, wrap Question Cookie up, rate the following 1 to 3. Andrew Johns, Nathan Cleary, Jonathan Thurston.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Dan, that's what have you done to me here?
I thought I'd give you one.
John Thurston Cleary.
Yeah. Might have to edit this part.
I think Nathan Cleary will eclipse the 2 of them in the end. But right now, I'd go Thurston 3, Cleary 2, Johns 1. But I think you could put either of them in any order and have a valid argument to say I'm right. You know, other people will have a different opinion. I'm sick to death of people coming at me saying you're wrong when they expect me to change the mind on because their opinion is different to mine. They want me to flip to their opinion. I'm never going to change my mind. I've got my own reasons for feeling the way I feel about things, but nobody's wrong in that situation. I don't think.
No. I just wanted to know if you
want to chuck in Cooper Cronk on top of that, Stacey Jones, Sean Johnson, Brett Morley. If you want, you can chuck a load in. Terry Evans. Unbelievable. There's some phenomenal halves that's played the game.
There has. Well, that wraps it up for Question Cookie this week. Remember to like and subscribe. And also, if you want to drop your comments in the comments section for questions you'd like me to ask Paul Cooke, just let me know. And the best ones will be selected and we'll put it in next week's episode. If you enjoyed this segment, the full 90-minute podcast with all 5 segments is linked below, where we discuss the latest Super League and NRL news and results, plus the bonus segment of Question Cookie each week. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell icon to be notified of all future content uploaded by NRL Insight UK. Thank you for your continued support, and see you on the next one.